You guys don't need to worry about me getting revenge from Diddy. I've got 3 moves that make sure he'll never be able to come after me or my family. First, I personally reached out to the victims' legal teams. The real reason he's not getting out is those buried cases behind the scenes. I provided legal funding for 7 victims who had been silent for years and brought in the top criminal attorneys in the country. Second, I bought up every potential post-release business deal he had lined up. I planned this 2 years in advance, so by the time he got sentenced and still had hope of getting out, every partner had already cut ties with him. Third, I don't just have evidence, I've got backups. This is an entire minefield that's been buried for 20 years. I uncovered every secret from the last 30 years. With testimonies from the victims, we interviewed over a dozen people he tricked, threatened, or violated. You think that's harsh? No, he destroyed other people's lives for decades. I'm just making sure he spends a few extra years in prison for it. I'm not afraid of his people, not afraid of his threats. I know he's still in there fantasizing about a comeback, but the truth is, he's never coming back.
I feel funny. Is this real life?
Yes, this is real life.
I feel crazy. The world is spinning around me.
Don't touch your stitches, Justin Bieber. Don't touch your stitches.
What's happening?
No. Bieber, stop.
You have 4 eyes. I have 2 fingers. I have 3 fingers. Is this gonna last forever?
Justin, stop it.
Yeah, you pressing Bieber?
Yeah.
Yo, what's up? Like, I'm calling you, ain't answering.
Yeah, that was low.
That was weird, yeah. That was weird. They did not run through Bieber.
There was... Why you not answering your phone? Like, yo.
What's going on with you guys? Are you working together?
I'm not. I mean, I think that we become friends in a strange way, you know.
Like Robin Big.
Yeah. It's like exactly.
I'm begging you, Robin.
Yeah. No, I mean, to a lot of us, he's like a little brother. You know what I'm saying? He's not afraid to call and ask for advice. He's somebody that, in the industry-wise, the record industry is a strong family, and he's somebody that, you know, we definitely have our arms around, and we want to protect him because he's such genuinely a nice person. Besides his talent, you know what I'm saying? He's one of the greatest kids that you could ever know.
Justin, you know, Diddy bought his son a Bentley. Maybe, you know, he could buy you one also while you're out.
Got me a Lamborghini.
Oh, well, that's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last
He
time.
had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
If power protect people, why do the warning signs always look obvious only after everything falls apart? Because what once sounded like jokes now feel like evidence, and the laughter doesn't land the same anymore. For years, moments that should have stopped everything were treated like background noise. Strange interviews, uncomfortable jokes, and footage that made people pause for a second before scrolling on. But then the legal pressure grew, old stories resurfaced, and suddenly the same clips everyone ignored started feeling heavy. And here's the part people miss. Silence didn't happen by accident.
Look at Usher. What Usher say? I seen some things I shouldn't have been seeing at that age. What does that tell you? That he's seen some things, he was around some things when he was young that he shouldn't have been at a Diddy party. So that's going to show you that there's certain things that are happening that's going on that here this kid was saying he shouldn't even seen it and been around it himself. So all the other celebrities who saw it and they stand quiet about it, ain't that in our culture? No snitching. And I felt a certain way when Usher got on Shay Shay, and I don't mean to mention other people's platforms, but he got on Shay Shay and he mentioned how great and how good Puff taught him and everything. You know what I'm saying? About the business. Right? I know, and people know, that was around that in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that groomed you, you gonna give him a pass? Bro, you know
At the center of the discussion are two very different figures tied to the same system. Diddy, a powerful gatekeeper whose influence stretched across music and business, and Justin Bieber, a teenager pulled into adult spaces long before he had any real protection. According to reported interviews and archived footage, this proximity was framed as mentorship, family, and opportunity. But that framing matters, because power doesn't need to shout to be dangerous.
He dropped the song. It went over our heads. It's actually about P. Diddy this whole time. Which video? The song Lonely. Let me see.
Everybody knows my best. I'm so with black. Maybe that's the price you pay for the money and fame at an early age.
He even came out and said stuff about how when he was younger, he was being taken advantage of, which is true. The problem was being a victim of the diddler. What happens? Because he has so much dirt on you, if you go out into the public, he may have videos, he may have embarrassing things. He might even have incriminating footage of you doing things that you were forced to under the influence to do.
Similar patterns show up elsewhere. Usher has publicly stated that he saw things at a young age that he should not have seen, comments that were reported years ago and largely moved past. That matters, because when different generations describe the same discomfort, coincidence starts to fade. And yet, the system itself stayed untouched.
I'm tired of Usher. I wish somebody would come out and just like sue him. Like, we need Usher. No, we do. We need a victim to come out and be honest about him, because what I'm realizing is that he's going to fake the funk until the victim, man. He's just going to keep on sucking the devil's. And I don't know, like with a baby, that pacifier, sometimes you got to pull it out. You know what I'm saying? And take it away. Right? When the baby's used to sucking on the pacifier. That motherfucker gonna keep sucking on that shit until you do what? Till you take it out the mouth. Now it's gonna scream and holler, but eventually it will get used to the fact that his mouth is no longer full with that object. And that it's time to just, learn how to live without it. He been sucking on Diddy's dick a long time. It's time for him to learn how to make this thing happen without the devil's dick in his mouth or ass.
Oh, you don't think if he sued, he'll just Lil Woody the situation? And I don't recall. I don't recall.
No, because I think if a victim comes out against Usher, it'll show how egregious this shit is. Because if he can be a predator, then anybody can be a predator.
For a long time, 50 Cent positioned himself as an outsider, openly criticizing Diddy while others stayed quiet. At the time, those comments were dismissed as rivalry or attention-seeking. Now, as reported legal developments bring new scrutiny, those same warnings are being reevaluated. That doesn't confirm every allegation, but it does raise an uncomfortable question about why early signals are so easy to ignore when the messenger makes people uncomfortable.
Not seeing that boy that got rushed to the hospital. They're not seeing what the intentions was in his heart when he took Justin Bieber there.
No.
Let's be honest. He took Justin Bieber there. Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute. And his management was backing him off. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours. Think about that. He had already been to the hospital. That situation that Gene was talking about. And you still took Bieber there. But you got custody of him first. Diddy had already tried. They wouldn't let him. Actually, someone made reference to the fact that Diddy trying to get at Bieber the way he was trying to get at Bieber was looking a little predatory. And then Usher came in and discovered it and managed him and got custody of him and promised to look after him. And then he sent him to the diddler. Does that sound like a good guy?
It's horrible.
Does that sound like a good guy? Now that we know what Diddy's really like. What kind of fucking asshole do you gotta be to take another boy, another talented boy, and put him in your place so it ain't gotta be you?
Justin Bieber has never accused Diddy of criminal wrongdoing. What he has done is speak openly about anxiety, emotional exhaustion, and the pressure growing up too fast in an industry that rewards access over safety. Fans later re-examined his music and interviews, interpreting them through that lens, not as proof, but as context. And context can change how a story feels without changing the facts.
Usher look like he fresh off a goddamn plane. Usher fresh off the guard stage. That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, pause, but like that's back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the frosted flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the frosted flakes because he used to always get up early with me. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world. And what did Puff just say? Nobody's going to acknowledge this with me. Puff just said we used to wrestle over the frosted flakes, and we're streaming live. That was stupid. Listen, that was stupid. Listen, having a good time.
Usher is a procurer. And if Usher knew what was going to happen to any of those young children that he took to the Flavor Freak office, he a good guy. Especially considering what happened to him. Especially considering that he sat Howard Stern and Howard Stern said, would you send your kids to Puffy's Flavor Camp? And his immediate response was, hell no! So it's good enough for everybody else's kids, but it's not good enough for you. Yours are just good enough to die in Lake Lanier with no real investigation. Got it? Like, these aren't good people!
All right, Jeff.
He's not good! He's a... And the simple fact that Justin Bieber literally made a public statement and said, Usher asked me to do the Super Bowl with him and I turned it down.
Run for the hills.
Why would he turn it down? Who turns down the Super Bowl?
The deeper issue isn't one clip or one relationship. It's a system where success is tied to proximity to power, where speaking up threatens careers, and where staying quiet is treated as professionalism. In those environments, boundaries blur, caution is seen as weakness, and accountability arrives late, if it arrives at all.
Yeah, she's crazy. She's a superstar.
Superstar, right? So you're there and you see her and you see the way she's reacting to you. And I wonder what was going through your mind, because I've never had a chance to ask you that, because I know what was going through her mind, because I've never had a chance to ask her that. And it's pretty clear in the video what's going through her mind. She can't even. What was going through your mind when you saw that kind of reaction? And also now in the knowledge that you were just coming out of that space yourself.
I wanted to protect the moment. You know, I don't know how many opportunities I'm going to get. You know, we never know how many opportunities we're going to get with anybody. I mean, I'm tearing up thinking about it, just with the Kobe situation, you know. Just never know. And so I just wanted to be a good example, you know, and, yeah.
Did you feel protective of her?
Yeah, I definitely feel protective of her. it was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second. So yeah, it's hard because I want her to know that, she can count on me. But at the end of the day, I'm never going to force myself to be in a relationship with her. It has to be natural, right? So I just kind of, let her do her thing. And if she ever needs me, I'm going to be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted, encounters and, yeah. So, yeah, I just want to protect her, I don't want her to lose it. I don't want her to, go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. So, yeah, if she ever needs me, I'm just a call.
Courts can rule on individual actions, but they don't fix cultures. Legal outcomes draw lines around what can be proven, not what should have been prevented. And that gap leaves a bigger question hanging in the air. If the same structures keep producing the same damage, at what point do we stop treating these stories as isolated moments and start asking whether the system itself is a real problem?
Justin Bieber, and he was talking about Billie Eilish. And he was like, he was broke, almost in tears. He's like, I just want to protect her. I just want to keep her safe.
Yeah.
What do you think he went through?
Because he knows what's been happening to Billy. Just like everybody knew what was happening to Millie Bobby Brown girl with Drake. These people are monsters. He ran into Dapper Dan in Harlem and they asked him what he thought about what was going on with Diddy and if he knew Diddy. And I love Dapper Dan for this. He said, I grew up with his parents. I knew his parents. He said, and what's going on with him has been going on long before him. Now, his father was a government snitch and a bad actor in the criminal world altogether. The woman that they're saying is his mother was a prostitute, no whore. But there's whispers in the streets of Harlem that Diddy's mother isn't alive. Not his biological mother, that woman is his aunt.
Whoa.
There are whispers.
Wait a minute.
There are whispers. Diddy's story is so convoluted, but nobody really likes talking about who he was before he became Puffy. Nobody, I would love if I could be granted an interview with him. To interview Diddy now in his most raw state about his life up until the age of 15 only. We got to learn how to stop making Diddies. What made him him? Now his pedigree comes from rat background. His father was a rat, snitch, not revered. He turned on Frank Lucas, who was the king of Harlem. And yet, Diddy was able to, siphon off enough of that juice, just enough to get people, but he needed Gene. Yeah. Think about this. Gene was more of a father figure to Diddy than he was a bodyguard. And Gene was more than a bodyguard. He was an investigator. Yeah. So when they went separate ways, clearly he could.
If I'm looking at any black guys that are A-listers that's bigger than Diddy, there's only one that I could come up with. And there's a few I could come up with. Will Smith. He's bigger than Diddy. I would think Nick Cannon is bigger than Diddy. Who else on the black that are black actors or black in the business that's an A-lister that's bigger than Diddy that's black? That's hard to think. But then if you got the A-listers, you know, you got to realize he ran with that that Rat Pack. And I don't want to even say their names because they said I got their names wrong last time. What's his name? Kushner? What's the other guy? Leonardo? Yeah, his name. Man, I don't keep up with these cats. But I heard that that's not only the tape that's being shot. There's some other tapes out there, other people too with him. And him doing some things with some other people. So there's quite a few tapes that might be out there, what they're hearing. And I don't want to see the tapes, but I want to know if they really true. Because if they got if they got some tapes out there and it's with some underage, whether it's celebrities or not, it's gonna be crazy, bro. It's gonna be real